Hello, my name is Peter Parfitt and welcome to New Bit Workshop. In this video I'm going to show you how to go about giving your planing machine a quick service. Now I've got a jet planing machine. Most planing machines are going to have pretty similar adjustments that I'm going to show you, but do look up your own instructions. Now before I start doing anything with this machine, I'm going to disconnect it from the power. You must physically disconnect it so there's no cable going in, there's nothing plugged in anywhere before you start maintaining your planing machine. So there it is, unplugged, and I'm putting this right out of the way. Now, one of the most important things is to make sure that the two beds of the machine are coplanar. Now, I've got this in the planing position, that is when you're trying to make something flat. And coplanar means that if you imagine this flat surface here, and it were to be continued as one flat surface over here, it would be one continuous level flat surface. So that means that this half and this half are coplanar. So that's the first thing we're going to check. Now in order to do this, I'm going to remove the guard here. And I've already moved the fence back as far as it will go. And the next thing I need to do is get hold of a straight edge. Now this is a proper straight edge. Mine came from Lee Valley in Canada. I think I've got it through Axminster, and it is super duper straight edge. Now what we're going to do is to put it in the first position, which is at the back here. And what I'm now trying to do is get this bed the same height as this bed, and I'm doing it at the back first of all. Now the straight edge should be level across both beds. Now ideally I should have a longer straight edge than this, but I'm going to move this across here. And I'm going to hold this flat on here, and I can see that just here there's a very slight, can you hear that noise? That means this side dips down a little bit there. So I've got to proceed as follows. I've got to lift the bed up like this. Now under here there are 3 bolts, and those bolts are holding this casting in place. And then there are 4 grub screws, one here, one there, and there's 2 at the back there, which allow this whole casting to be adjusted in any way that you wish. Now we know that my bed dips down at the back, so that means one needs to raise it a bit at the back here. The first thing to do is to loosen these 3 screws here. And having done that, I now need to make some adjustments to these 4 grub screws. Now, as far as I know, all I've got to do is make it go that way. So I need to raise it a fraction. If I turn this clockwise, that will raise it. Anti-clockwise will lower it. So I'm going to do 1/8 of a turn on that one. And similarly, I need 1/8 of a turn at the rear one. And although I could use this little tool at the front, I need to use something different at the back. There it is. And there's my 1/8 of a turn. So having done that, I'm going to tighten these. And see whether it's now flat. And now lower this down again, and do be careful, watch your fingers, and let's see if we've made any difference here. Yeah, I think that is slightly high at the front. We'll go through the same procedure. I'm going to loosen these off, and this time rather than tightening, I'm going to loosen this one slightly, and the same with the back one. Then I'm going to tighten that, And we'll check again. That I consider now to be perfect. Now when you lower the table back down to check it, you do need to clamp it down here. Let's have a look, see where we are. I seem to be okay at the front. I'm holding the rear end here flat against this bed, and I've got a bit of adjustment here. So the one at this side needs to go up a bit. So this one needs to go up. So I've made that go up a bit. Try again. Now, whatever you do when you're doing this process, you must have a proper straight edge. Do not rely on the edge of a steel ruler. It may once upon a time have been straight, but who knows? And that's why they've invented straight edges. It's because you have to have something fit for the job. So that's that bit done. I've checked the tightness of these. So I now know that these beds are absolutely coplanar. I'm very pleased with that. I'm now just doing an inspection of the cutters, because I've got the helical head. It's pretty easy, because if you have a problem with the cutter, what you do is you undo the screw in the middle and then rotate it. And I've done that in one case here. I noticed I was getting a little tiny mark as I pushed wood through, and I eventually identified that there was a little ding in this particular cutter. Now the cutters have got 4 facets, so that means that you can turn them around 3 times, the initial place, and then turn them 3 times until you use all 4 cutting faces. In order that I know which one I've already rotated, I put a red mark on it. And that red mark has been there for at least a year, hasn't worn off. So I know that that one has been rotated once. I've had no other issues. I've been very lucky. I haven't come across a nail or a stone. It's very common in some woods that you get a stone which is in the fabric of the wood, because the tree was growing, something got in there in some way, shape or form. But no, the rest of these are perfectly okay. So I'm happy with that. Right, the next job is we want to inspect the belts and see if there's any adjustment to be made. So the first thing to do is to remove the fence. That's those taken away. Lift that up carefully and put it to one side. Now I've got the top cover here. There are 2 little hex screws here. Now when you do these, make sure you don't drop the screw down inside anywhere, because it could be a bit of a nuisance to find it. That's those 2 done, and then we're just going to lift this away. You can see there's a bit of detritus here. That's really bits of the drive belt which have been slowly wearing off over time. And I'm just going to clean the rest of this off. That's that. Now you can see here we've got the drive mechanism. There's a chain which goes around, and here is the belt, the main belt that drives the cutters. Well, it looks okay. I wouldn't say this is perfect, but it is okay for the time being. And it just happens that it's stopped in a position where I can see the part number. So whilst it happens to be in that location, I'm going to just take a photograph, just in case one day I need to get a new one. Now the rest of this gubbins is behind this plate here, and we're now going to remove that and check to see what's going on underneath. There are 4 screws here. You don't need to take these all the way out, because this cover will slip up out of the way. There's a hole here, you can put something through there, lift, and then away it comes. And again, you can see a little bit of detritus there. There are two belts here, and then there's the main drive belt. The main drive belt's fine. That's okay, that's tightening up okay. That's fine. That one's okay. Yeah. Now, I think everything there looks fine. The main chain might need greasing on some machines, mine doesn't. I'm happy with that. So that inspection really has revealed nothing untoward. Yeah, so I can put this cover back. Again, I'll just clean this bit off here, put it back, and then we're good to go. Now when you're cleaning something like this, a little bit of methylated spirits is probably a good idea. And I can use that on both covers, on this one, also on this one. The reason it's a good idea to clean that is that the next time you look at it, if you see a huge build-up of grease or whatever, you may find that as a warning sign of a problem that you may be facing in the future. Right, so the cover's going back on. A little bit of a clean around here. Can I put this cover back on now, making sure it goes on absolutely spot on. That's that. Remove this tool. And now is a good time to get the actual fence at right angles to the bed. And oh, mine is a little bit out. I'm surprised at that. Right, well this is easy to adjust. I'll turn this round here. And what you have these tightening knobs. One here, which I've just loosened, and one there. There's a stop on this side, and there's one on the other side as well. And what you want is when that's fully against the stop, you want it to be upright, and mine isn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this and get it in at 90 degrees. I'm then going to lock both knobs in that position, and then I will adjust this and the equivalent one on the other side to get it in the right place, so that when that goes hard against the stop, it is absolutely at right angles. So I'll just do that now. Now I've tightened these two up really tight, and I'm just going to adjust those little stops now and get those in the right place. So that's those done. They're both adjusted. I'm happy with that. So anyway, the fence is done, and my final task is to use some of this. Now this is a machine wax. This comes from Axminster. You may have a store closer to you other than Axminster, but Axminster's my nearest. Put a bit of this on all over towards the end. Make sure you've wiped off the excess, should there be any. That's that. And obviously get down on your hands and knees and do the one down below. Now I've not shown how to adjust the knives, which many planing machines with ordinary knives will have. Mine's got a helical cutter on it, so that element I couldn't show you. But I have made a video a while ago about how to adjust the cutting knives on a planer. It was my very old planer from Electra Beckum, and I'll try and remember to put a link in the description of this video to that video, so those of you with ordinary blades can see how they can be adjusted. Well, that's it. That little job's done. Try and do this about once a year, and just to make sure it's okay. Or if you hear any change in the tone of the machine as you're using it. And don't forget to use a bit of the machine wax at the very end. Many thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.